Back to Talos of Tech live on Twitch. Today, I had to rant a little bit. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know why. Because I just realized Apple has made it so dang complicated on us standalone monitor people. How come we have to spend $6,000 if we want Apple to design the chassis? Holy crap. DJ Thornton 98 just set a record. Holy crap. Subscribed at tier 2 for 25 months. 2-year streak is done. Now to work on the 3. Holy crap. Thank you, DJ, so much. Wow. Now you get the exclusive 2-year badge. I think DJ's the first person to get it. Thank you very much for that. That's awesome. Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations. He set a record right there. That's awesome. And S. Jangso2 is subscribed at a tier 1 for no reason at all. Okay, we've got classic fans who've been subscribing from the beginning, and also we got brand new people who've never subscribed before. Thank you. Appreciate all your support, DJ. That is major stonk chonks, which I appreciate. But yeah. Anyway, I wish I could even say older iMacs could be great standalone separate monitors, but they don't have target display mode anymore, which basically means that even the older iMacs, essentially you can only use the display with the machine on board. You can't convert the old iMac into a standalone monitor anymore, which makes it ridiculous. Just buy 7 iPad Pros and tape them together. Okay, that's a really good idea. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, because it's stupid. I won't be taping any iPads together. First of all, there'd be a lot of lines on that thing. And also, iPads are fragile as heck. So, at the same time, not a good plan. Not a good idea. But yeah, we essentially don't have the target display mode option when it comes to older iMacs. We haven't really had anything like the Apple Thunderbolt display since that came out. They haven't really replaced it with anything, which is... I'd love to see the numbers or hear the numbers about it, because I personally feel that it did pretty well. I feel like I knew a lot of people with the Thunderbolt display. I very much enjoyed the Apple Cinema display, which is basically the exact same thing. You've been in the you've been in the Discord server for a year? Well, this on Twitch at least it says this is your first time subscribing on Twitch, so to new beginnings. But yeah, I recognize you from the Discord, but it's the first time you did the tier 1 thing. Anyway, now that Apple finally gets back into the standalone monitor business, it starts at $6 frickin' grand. Ren Momnia? Thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate it. Just buy an older iMac and use it in target display mode on a newer iMac. But it's going to be so old, it's not even going to look good. It's still going to have the giant chin, and you have to put up with a big computer on the inside that you end up not using in the first place. Why is it so hard to ask for an iMac without the chin or a computer and just the display panel that I can connect to with a cable? Why is that so complicated? Why is that so expensive? Why can't Apple make that happen? Then they're like, no. If we get back into the standalone monitor business, I want it to look more colorful than reality itself. I want to cry every time I look at the screen because of how dang clear the image is. I want tears to be pouring out of my eyes, and I never want to get used to it. And I want the stand to be made of the utmost perfect metal that's sculpted from chinchilla fur, and the display is going to be made of a specific material that only works with rabbit hide when cleaning it, otherwise you'll smear it and permanently damage it. And I also want the back of it to look like a bunch of alien heads with holes, because this monitor is so beautiful and so gorgeous with its colors that if it tries to display anything, it's going to overheat. So we're going to need a big thermal intake on the back so that it can blow liquid nitrogen on the inside to be constantly cooling off the monitor. Why all this? They don't like you, Drew. They don't want you to be happy. Obviously, that's true. Let's see. Not death. Hey, Drew, has anyone realized the our thing yet? Correct me if I'm wrong, but Not Death is the one responsible for the Apple box in the background, I think. And yes, people have commented on it constantly across several channels. Meanwhile, gaming monitor lights go bling bling. Exactly. They got rid of target display mode but kept target disc mode. Why? Why is it so hard? Why is it so complicated, Apple? To just make the iMac without the computer part. Is that complicated? Why is this so hard? I don't get it. Also, the LG Ultrafine was their desperate attempt. They also were like, "Oh, we're going to let other companies use the iMac panels for standalone monitors, right? Yeah, we can do that." And then the LG Ultrafine, LG's design is like, "Okay, we have this really, really sharp, really pretty display panel. Let's put it in the ugliest box ever and charge $1,500 for it." Because the ultrafine monitor chassis is just so clunky and bricky and plastic looking, and just the stand is fairly metal, so I'll give it that. The stand looks okay, but the rest of the thing just looks like one of those Dell Optiplex monitors. Looks like butt ugly screen. The bezels are uneven. It's not flush with the display either. The plastic comes up around the display. It's hideous looking. And it's a monitor. It's meant to be looked at. So yeah, I kind of care about the design of it. You'd be nice to my Optiplex CRT monitor. There's nothing wrong with the Optiplex CRT monitors. There's something wrong with charging $1,200, $1,500 for them. Wavy King 3, or however you say your name, thank you for the 200 bits. Appreciate it. I have the MacBook Air 2020. It has been very good. No issues so far. Oh, that's good. They almost certainly have some type of reasoning behind it. I speak like a product designer. It's a hella ton of potential reasons for it. Okay, I'm not criticizing the reasons. I'm just asking what they are. Why make the Pro Display XDR and not make a standalone monitor in the $1,500 department with thin bezels, clean design, looks like an iMac without the chin, thin bezels, and you can just plug any monitor or laptop into it? I want to know the reasons. I'm sure there are reasons. I will never get the answer. But this guy said he speaks like a product designer, so he speaks for them. Drew, I beg of you, turn that iPhone 7 Plus box around. It was funny the first time in the live stream and in some videos. Just please, Apple is giving me pain enough. I just want to be happy. Okay. You guys really been that annoyed by it, huh? That bothers you that much? Wow. Dexus is begging of me to turn that 7 Plus box around. Begging. Okay. If you're begging that much, I guess I will. There. You're welcome. At least he begged. Okay. Problem solved. A decently priced Apple monitor will also complement an Apple Silicon Mac Mini really well. Exactly. The Mac Mini is in need of a better looking... Where's the Mac Mini paperwork? Is that over here? Holy crap. Wait. I remember. I got an idea from the Mac Mini packaging. It's in here, I think. Ugh. Yes! It's right here. Look! That looks great! Apple. Why didn't you make this? Huh? I know it's out of focus. It looks so good. It's not the Pro Display. It doesn't look anything like the Pro Display. It has a normal looking dock. And it puts it right next to the Mac Mini. This was in 2018 they printed this. It looks great with the Mac Mini. That'd be a perfect little design. And yet this is just their generic icon they came up with. Whoever designs the Mac Mini packaging did a better job designing a monitor than Apple did. Because the Pro Display doesn't have the rounded edges like that. This is from Apple, by the way. This isn't some stupid Twitter account that's 2 weeks old claiming that AirPower is coming back from the dead. No, this is legit. What else is in here? Oh, there's still Apple stickers. I never looked at those. This is cool. See, it's kind of nice to keep packaging. There's probably a bunch of spiders in here. Yeah, I've had that for a while. Let's see. Promote that artist, whoever did that. I know, right? They did a great job. I'm going to commit gaming crime after what you did to me. I hope when flip your pillow, it's always warm and never cold. Joke's on you. My pillow's been like that for years. Oh, well. Have you lost weight? Yes, a little bit. All of the boxes will be turned upside down. The more people ask about them, yes, the more they will be turned upside down. Eventually, everything will be upside down. I think the iPad Pro box is already upside down, actually. I can't remember. No. No, I think it's normal. Design-wise, looks very similar to Apple Pro Display XDR and can rotate portrait full metal stand. Why do you keep acting like I care about the portrait display crap? I don't need it to rotate. If I wanted something to be in portrait mode, I'd look at it on my phone. Okay? Okay. Let me look this one up in specific. Because I want to see, I need it to look like the design in the Mac Mini paperwork, okay? That's my goal here. You guys need to help me. I have a BenQ monitor, but it's, nothing's wrong with it. It's just, it doesn't look like an Apple monitor, that's for sure. Design view. Is this, yeah, PD3220U. What's it look like? No, that's not it. Not with that stand. That looks way too. It's also $2,200. Jeez. No, it's way too boxy. It looks like it's made of plastic. Look at the back of that thing. Gross. No. No. That's not it. What happened to your Thunderbolt display? I still have it. It's just in the closet. I chose to go with a more minimal design approach. And I used to use it with my Mac Mini, but then my wife needed to start working from home, so we took the TV out of the bedroom so that she could set up her desk in there. And we put the TV here, which is what I'm using now to stream with. Please give the Thunderbolt display. It's actually an Apple Cinema display. It's not a Thunderbolt display. It just looks like the Thunderbolt display, except with the awkward cables on the end of it. Apple should literally just make a Pro Display XDR, but it's 4K, has much cheaper, more dynamic range, normal dynamic range. Then they wouldn't call it XDR. Just call it the Pro Display, the regular display. My 720p Facebook posts and TikToks on my 6K display. I know. When are we gonna get more 6K TikTok videos? That should be the title of the stream. I want to watch TikToks on my Pro Display. I wonder if anyone does that, There's a lot of people on this earth. Is one of them the type of person that would buy a Pro Display XDR and watch TikTok on it? In portrait mode? We've got a 1 in 7 billionth chance. We just need one person to do it. We need a new cinema display with the exact iMac design we're going to get, but go crazy with the ports. I know, really. XDR display stands for laugh out loud rain. Could you make a meme of that? I would retweet that on Twitter. If you made a meme of XDR, X, laugh, D, out, R, loud. This is what it stands for. Should I pick up a faster SSD with less storage or slower SSD with more storage? Very complex. Some people are adamant that you have to get everything solid state because hard drives are just too dang slow. Have to get solid state, go all in on solid state. They're right. Believe all of them. No. I mean, they're kind of right because SSDs have gotten really cheap these days, so it's usually not much of a stretch to go with an SSD. But recently, I made an investment in a regular spinning hard drive because I needed something to store stuff, but not that I needed immediate access to. So, because I don't trust YouTube and I expect their servers or their content to just all explode one day, I try to keep the final version of my videos on my local drives, just in case I ever wanted to upload them or see them again. Not all of them, just some of them. I keep hard copies of the finished product, not the raw footage because that's useless. But I'll take the hard finalized form of it and just keep it for myself, just in case. And I bought a 5 terabyte hard drive for deep storage. So basically, SSDs are good for stuff you're working on regularly. If you're planning on editing footage off of the external drive, or you're planning on, putting a game on it or putting stuff that you're going to be accessing regularly, I would say do your best and get an SSD. No, I'm not getting those stupid Linus Tech Tip server thing. Way too expensive. This 5 terabyte drive was $100. How much is the RAID server? Is it $100? If it was less than $100, I'd consider it. But I doubt it is, to be honest. And I don't need that much of backups. Like, if the hard drive dies, it's fine. I don't care. It's like, it's not the end of the world. People act like, I filmed this OnePlus 8 unboxing video footage, and I might want to look at that 30 years from now. So I'm going to put it on multiple different hard drives with fail-safes in place so that if one of the drives die, I can get the footage off that. It's like, you really need it that bad? I mean, come on. If it dies, it dies. Okay, the universe decided I don't get that footage anymore. Whatever. It's like $10,000 or more. Oh, okay, so it's probably worth it. Only 10 grand? I'll just sell my house. Probably easy. You can probably pay for it. Let's see. Are you going to make a fail video compilation? I like how that has nothing to do with anything we're doing. He's just asking if I'm going to make a fail video compilation. I think Telosa Tech is just a big fail video compilation. Someone should make a meme of just someone pouring out chunky milk. It's all clumpy and everything, and it just says Telosa Tech video. Let's see. Linus has a petabyte. I don't like that word. It just sounds wrong. Linus can make me a server. Okay, if Linus wants to make me one, that's fine. But he has to make it and pay for it and plug it into my computer so I don't have to think about it. Yeah, I think all my leaks videos are fail video compilations. That great feeling when you use your 21-inch HP 22Xi with like 100 pixels per inch and then return to your MacBook like Retina. Right. Let's see. Sounds like something out of the Flintstones. Yeah, it does. What did someone ask earlier? There are plenty of compilations on YouTube, so yeah, there would definitely be someone who would use their Mac Pro with 1 terabyte of RAM and 28 cores with a Pro Display XDR. At least one person. We just need one person to do it. Let's see. Just got a new monitor for back to school, and $150 for an LG monitor gets you a really good 1080p 75 hertz picture. That's probably what my wife uses. She uses a little 21-inch LG monitor. It looks great. I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's not, it's not 4K or anything. It's just for basic work stuff. But the bezels are really thin on it. And I'm sure it probably cost her business $100 or something. I don't know. I don't know how much it was, but that's probably what she uses based on how you described it. Let's see. Hey, Yusuf's getting a MacBook tomorrow. Congratulations. That's wonderful. I like how people buying something is like a birthday. But it is. It's special. It doesn't happen that often for most of us. Drew, you don't get it. I need that Pro Display XDR and Mac Pro for pro candy crushing. That's true. When we have Mac OS Big Sur and Apple Silicon, we could run iOS version of Candy Crush on our Macs. Is there a Mac Candy Crush? Don't answer that. I don't want to know. That's more disappointed. Oh, yeah, Yusuf, you didn't want to wait for Apple Silicon, I see. Someone's going to get some serious FOMO with this MacBook. No, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Check media channel. I made the XDR. Don't post it in Discord. Can you guys listen to anything I said? Post it on Twitter. What was your first feeling when you looked at Retina display? I got to remember the first time I looked at a Retina display. Let's go back. I think Drew is scanning the archives of his brain with his spinning hard drives back there, so it's very slow. I think it was the iPhone 4. That was like the first Retina display ever, right? That was the first time Apple made a Retina display. Because there was I didn't have the iPhone 4. I never owned it myself, but I had a few friends that got one. And it's true. When I was young, I was into Apple and stuff, but I couldn't get a hold of the hardware. So I had to kind of enjoy it from a distance. And there were friends I had in school that had the latest iPhone and stuff. Shh, no one listened to anything Drew said. Hush, Scott. Thank you, Many Dinosaur. Thank you for putting it on Twitter. I will retweet now. Who's tagging? There we go. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through what my brain just did. Originally, I was like, you know what? It's probably not gonna be that funny. It made more sense in my head, and now that I'm gonna see a picture of it, I'm gonna think it's not that funny. But the picture Sam used. That's beautiful. That that gets a very justifiable retweet. Oh, thank you. Good job. Now everyone's tweeting me the same thing. Too late. Sam wins the meme award with the best caption photo possible. Oh my god. I was waiting for Apple Silicon, but online school has crept up on me, and I need a laptop upgrade because the 2010 ThinkPad, or as I call it, the Tank, can barely handle Microsoft Office. I like that name. That's a good name for a ThinkPad. The Tank. Do you think it's a good idea for a Mac user to wait for Apple Silicon MacBook for college, or get an Intel-based one now, assuming classes start tomorrow? Uh, if you have the Tank, like Yusuf did, and you're like pushed for time and it's barely able to run stuff, then I would say don't worry about it. Just get one now. But if you can wait, if the machine you're using now can do online school and you're comfortable with it, it's just not great, and you just would like an update, then I would say wait. But yeah, my logic has never changed with the should I wait for Apple Silicon thing, because I've basically said from the beginning, if you need an Intel Mac now, go ahead. But if you can wait, try to wait. Let's see. Enjoying from distance, same feeling when I was younger. Oh yeah, the Retina display thing. There was, I think it was the first time I saw an iPhone 4 was actually in my own house, because my oldest sister, Abigail, she's 6 years older than me. She used to have like friends over and have parties all the time, which I never did because I never had that many friends. But she had sometimes like 10, 12 people over. We had a decent sized house, and they would all hang out in the living room. And just because I was kind of alone and by myself upstairs, I would kind of, we're not talking that old here. We're talking like I was maybe 6 or 7 at this point. And I would crawl around down there and just try to get people's attention, because I just wanted someone to hang out with, and I was kind of weird. So I was just like, hey, hi, everyone, how you doing? And people would be like, they give me the look, and just like, okay, we're not here for you. And I would just try to make conversation or make faces at people, or I would just one of the two. I like how I list those like they're one and the same. Very different. Make conversation, make faces, just trying to do the human, can I be human with you guys? Can I be a person too? So I would get down there, and one of my sister's friends had an iPhone 4 when it was like somewhat new. It was like a couple months old at the time. And I saw it, and I was just like, can I see your phone? And she was like, sure, here. And I held the phone, and I started looking at the display, and I was like, I can't see the pixels. I can't see them. And it was new at the time. I remember everyone felt kind of weird that I was there, because there was just a bunch of teenagers, and I was this little kid in the middle of everything. But I turned on the flashlight because the iPhone 4, I think, was the first iPhone with a flash. They didn't have that before. So the flash turned on, and everyone was like, Drew, what are you doing? And I was like, whoa, it's got a big light on the back. That's so cool. Drew, older girls? Nah. iPhone 4? Hello, gorgeous. Pretty much how it went. Yes, Yusuf. 6-year-old Drew at a party. You guys got any iPhones? Now you guys understand why I do this tech stuff for a living. It's amazing. You were 6 when the iPhone 4 was new? No, that's not right. When did the iPhone 4 come out? I wasn't 6. I was a little older than that. I was still young. What year did the 4 come out again? I wasn't 6. I was just trying to remember. I remember being young. iPhone 4 release. Back when the iPhone 4 was leaked, we were calling it, okay, 2010. I was 12 years old. Okay, I was twice as old as I thought. 2010. I wasn't as creepy. I'm probably making it sounded weirder than I really was, just for the sake of entertainment. I would have been 11 or 12. I was born in 98, so I would have been 12. Matt K1201, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub for 24 months. Holy crap, we had another person hit 2 years. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate all that support. God bless. Enjoy the badge. Scratching his neck like a crack daddy. You got any iPhone? Well, I had psoriasis, so I'd be cracking my, I'd be scratching my neck anyway. iPhone 4 came out in 2010. But yeah, okay, so they were probably older then. If they were all Abby's age, then I guess everyone at the party would have been, they would have all been 18. Okay, so it was a party of 18-year-olds, and I was the one 12-year-old among them, being like, hey, anybody here got some iPhones? Come on, let me take a look at it. I wasn't doing videos at the time. I just wanted to see it. That was when the iPhone 4 was the first iPhone I followed leaks for. That was the first one I was like checking the news and reading stuff and being like, what's the next iPhone going to have and that kind of thing. Let's see. I bet those girls regret overlooking you since you became a success. No. At the time, no, not even in the slightest. Drew's mother was a computer. That's right. He was like Karen from SpongeBob. California man raids party to find iPhone. Man desperate to see Retina display for the first time breaks into a teenage party. Yeah, that was me. Drew was an Apple sheep from the day he came out of the womb and saw the doctor using an Apple computer. Well, when I was little, that was all we had. I didn't really know there was other computers when I was really young because I was just at the house. There was only Mac stuff, so that was it. I grew up and realized there were other stuff, other computer brands and things like that. But Drew was partying with 18-year-olds as a preteen. You're really, really exaggerating the partying section, as in I kept trying to talk to someone by walking by. When I say partying, I mean like they weren't all drinking and dancing. That's not my family isn't that type of Abby's not that type of person. To this day, and even back then, she was not that type of partier. It was like everybody sit around the coffee table exchanging stories, drinking Kool-Aid, dunking crumpers, all that crap. It was a regular get-together, yeah. It wasn't that kind of part like in the movies. Everybody's... You know what's very unrealistic? Now, speaking as an adult, as a 22-year-old who has been to several parties and has been to clubs, yes, believe it or not, I have attended. Not recently, of course. This was all pre-pandemic. You know what movies make unrealistic? Movies make it seem like at parties people are dancing the whole time. And people are, doing this, that, like you go into a club and everyone's doing this. The parties or the clubs I went to, you have a very, very hard time finding anybody that wants to dance. No one wants to dance because they're all too cool. No, it wasn't a strip club. No, it was just a normal club. Just the place where you can eat and get drinks and there's loud music. That kind of stuff. Like, the movies make it look like, whoa, everybody's dancing. You go in there and everyone's just talking and you can't really hear each other because the music's too loud. It's one of my pet peeves is like going to people's houses or going to parties and stuff, and they insist, even if there's like 6 people there, playing the music at full blast so that you can't hear anybody talk. It's like, well, no one's dancing. Why are we playing this music so loud? If we're just here to talk, why don't we turn down the music? I don't know. But I danced. I got the party started. I showed up and I started dancing. You guys see those Twitch streams? That should be proof to you I don't mind dancing in front of people. Which is why if you ever run into me at a club, I'll be the one dancing harder and more than anyone. Typically, it's the girls, from what I've seen, it's the girls trying to get the guys to dance. The girls go out on the dance floor. They're like, come on. And the guy's like, I don't dance. I don't do it. I don't do that. And the girl's, doing this thing. Not me, though. Louise asked me to come out on the dance floor, and I embarrass her. That's how it works. No, don't go to strip clubs. If you're watching me, you're too young to go to strip clubs. None of you are that old or mature. Let's see, 5 bits from very complex. When I was one of the first people to get an iPhone 10, I would constantly attract people just for people who wanted to look at it and touch it. Ah, that brings me another story. Freshman year of high school, I had pretty much that exact same situation because I was like the first kid in my class to get the iPhone 5. That was the very that was the very first iPhone. That was the first phone I bought. I didn't even have a flip phone or a smartphone of any kind before that. The very first phone was iPhone 5, and I pulled that thing out in English class. Everyone showed up. Everyone's like, "Whoa! It's an iPhone 5. Literally, look at the squared edges. Whoa! Like, look how tall it is. Look at the screen. Oh my God! Look at that home button. Look at the everybody wanted to look at it. Everyone wanted to hold it. So yeah, getting the iPhone before everybody else, at least in that social circle, that's a big dopamine rush for sure. That's probably why I'm an Apple sheep to this day. See, that's why I kept saying iPhone 5, Surf Jesus, because I knew you were going to take it that way. I remember going on the train with the iPhone 10. It just came out, got a lot of looks. You don't where I, you don't where I've been, Drew. I'm a 22-year-old college student. I got it on launch day, so like 2 months before anyone else. Ha! You think you'll make an Apple Sheep rants about the regular Note 20 for 30 minutes? No, I'm not getting the Note 20. I honestly don't know if I should keep buying Android phones and reviewing them because I feel like I'm running out of things to say. People just ask you to review it and then you review it and no one watches the video. I mean, someone watches it. Some of you guys will watch anything I post, which is sad, but just looking at the views and what people are interested on the channel, Android reviews have not done as well as they used to. And yeah, it might be more interesting to review something that's very different. Like, I want to get the Fold 2, I want to get the Duo, but they're so expensive, and I kind of hate ordering things that cost that much money because it's kind of sketchy returning them and expecting a full refund and everything and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I might get the Duo. I won't get the Duo on launch day, that's for sure. I'm gonna wait till everybody else does their review and then I'll come in 6 months later. But something like that would be easy to rant about, I think, because you really can't rant for 30 minutes about something that's fine. Like the Note 20, I couldn't rant about for 30 minutes. Hashtag big you'd review Android phones and not watching it gay. There's a lot of people in my audience like that. Please review this. Reviews it. Oh, I'm not going to watch that one. It doesn't matter which phone Drew likes the most. He's going to take an iPhone over an Android any day of the week. So far, yeah, I haven't found an Android that makes me want to ditch my iPhone quite yet, other than the ones I've referred to, obviously. There's features I've had in Android phones that I really wish would be in iPhones, but not the whole package. How about the 30-day challenge with the Pixel Fold? I don't know. I think people have seen that before. If I did another Android challenge, I would want it to be some kind of long-term thing. I would want it to be like a year. And I'm not going to do that anytime soon, so. The Duo was very high rant worthiness. Yeah, you say that, but then I rant on it in the video and it gets a bunch of dislikes and people don't like it. And people tell me I missed the point and it's for the business world and that if there was an Apple logo on it, you would love it. You know, it's just all the same hate, all the same response videos all over again. But people did not like how mean I was to the Duo. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if they like it or not. When I got the 11 Pro Max on launch day, I showed it off to everyone by holding it up in the air like Apple or Samsung does when they reveal it. I remember that. There was kind of a weird, surreal moment when Tim Cook unveiled the Apple Watch. He, like, walked out on stage with his sleeve unrolled, and he was just like, yeah! You know, like, everyone was standing and clapping. But, Drew, you're wrong and you suck. Yeah, I know. It probably shouldn't bother me. I don't know. These days it does. I've dealt with enough hate and criticism that it's like, I know that they're wrong to disagree with me. I just hate hearing the argument because it attracts a certain type of person. Every time you do those hate videos, even if you believe you're in the right, you do those rant videos, you attract all these people to come at you and now stick with you for a long time and make it their job to dislike every video, or their job to tag you on Twitter or to join the Discord and argue with you. There's just so much negativity that it attracts that it gets annoying. So maybe if I did another 30-minute rant, I would try to make it overly sarcastic so that people would be like, okay, this is a joke. This is clearly not like genuine thoughts. This is like, it's more intended to be comedic than anything, but there's still some logic that goes along with it. I want to do another big rant video, but I need a good Surface Duo might be a good one. What would it take to switch to Android, Drew? I think an ecosystem that was comparable. That's kind of the bigger problem. You know, they don't really have something that can rival the intuitiveness between iPad, Mac, phone, watch. I can't really replace all that. You like watching the Android videos because it gives you new perspective. Well, that's good. Arguing about smartphones has become to arguing about PlayStation versus Xbox. It kind of has, yeah. It's kind of doving into the just software preference thing. It kind of turns into the like, well, some people like Android and some people like iOS. That's kind of what the. I still have this over here for those wondering if I forgot about it. The whole Pixel 4a versus iPhone SE thing. It basically just comes down to, well, some people want iOS. But if you don't care about iOS, then this is a great phone. This is really affordable. It's really cheap. I will say it's pretty jittery when scrolling, though. Especially when I scroll through the Play Store. It lags a lot. Like, look at this. It's stopped. Well, now it's loading fine. But when I scroll like this, ugh, this always happens. I get something weird behaving in my just day-to-day use, and then I try to emulate it on screen, and it doesn't work. I was just scrolling through the Play Store, and things were... It was dropping frames, is basically what I'm trying to say. And now it won't do it for me because I'm asking it to. Oh, well. It's not that big a deal. This is the best Pixel they've ever made, though. This is wonderful. You gonna buy the S6? You mean the Series 6? I'll buy it to review, yeah, but I don't think I'll keep it. Unless it's just like bigger battery. If that's literally all they do, I don't think I even need to buy that. Kind of surreal that the iPhone 5 had a 4-inch screen and now the Pro Max is the norm. I mean, it really isn't. The Pro Max is not the norm. Most people buying iPhones are buying the 11, which is 6 inches, not 6.5. Why is the 4A crap? I've played a few games on here too, and it ran pretty well. I played COD Mobile. Not Fortnite, obviously, but the games I have played on here ran decent. This is great. I don't have a great Apple narrative to push here with the 3A. It's a solid phone. I would straight up recommend this to people. There's a lot of people I talk to in my day-to-day life that are like, I was thinking about buying this or thinking about buying this. I would legit suggest they get this if they're not super into iOS. They exist. No, people are misunderstanding the Pixel 5 rumors. It's not a triple camera on the back. It's still just two. There's just an extra, I think it's a laser sensor for autofocus or a time of flight sensor. It's not a camera. There's not 3 cameras on the Pixel 5. It's still 2. But the reason I'm not that upset about them rocking a dual camera is because they're also not rocking the Snapdragon 865. And that makes me think that the Pixel 5 is going to be more of a mid-range phone. It's not going to be trying to be a flagship, which in my opinion is the better direction for Google. I think they should move more towards the affordable mid-range stuff, less so the flagship market. I thought you said you were planning on buying the new watch this year because your current watch's battery's going bad. I don't recall saying that. I mean, my Series 4 still lasts me 2 days. I didn't charge my Series 4 last night, and it is still at 29%. So it's going to last me the rest of today. So yeah, I don't really have. I could go another year with the Series 4. I think. I really can't. I haven't heard much interesting about the Series 6, so it's possible that I won't even buy it at all. If literally all the if it's just a website refresh and they're like the battery lasts longer now and all the finishes are the same and there's no extra features, if that's literally it, I don't think I would even buy it to review. But if there's a few added features like blood oxygen levels, or there's some new finish or something, new design changes or something small, even very very tiny changes, I would pick one up just for the sake of the review. At least the guy who said that the telephoto is more useful than the ultrawide left the country. Yeah, didn't I also read that somewhere that the Pixel 5 is going to have a regular lens and an ultrawide, not a telephoto. So they just did the whole argument in the Pixel 4 event about how telephoto is more important, and then the following year they do the ultrawide. That's kind of hilarious. The fact that they put the fingerprint reader on the back means that I think the Pixel 5 is going to be priced pretty fairly. I'd be very, very surprised if it was much more than $600. I think they'll price it around $599, which isn't horrible. If it's still got 90 hertz, if it's $699, that's just dumb. I'm sorry, that's kind of stupid. Even though that's not, it's not $1,000, but still. When the OnePlus Nord has 4 cameras, but the Pixel still only has 2. To be fair, I bet the Pixel takes much better pictures than the OnePlus Nord, but yeah, I get it. Also, the OnePlus Nord isn't available in the U.S., so that's kind of a different market for the Pixel then. Let's see. Do you think Apple Watch will expand into some powerful computing device and become standalone Titan? No. If the Apple Watch was separate from the iPhone, the experience would be worse, not better. That's the problem. You're not. The Apple Watch uses the iPhone to boot up not because it needs to, but because it would be complicated and annoying to set up if it didn't use the iPhone. Can you imagine typing in your email and password and logging into Wi-Fi on this tiny little display using Scribble? It would take way longer. It would be way harder for people to understand because a ton of Apple Watch people probably don't even know what Scribble is. They're just used to dictation. And saying your password out loud when you're setting up your watch and stuff, no. I think it's always going to be an iPhone accessory. They may make it easier to separate from the iPhone, but it will always need the iPhone. It's because it's not meant to replace it. Do you care about Touch ID coming back? So we talk about this a bit on the podcast, which should drop tomorrow. But yeah, basically the long short of it is I used to not care about Touch ID and I didn't want it back, and I just thought Apple should go all in on Face ID. But now, because of the pandemic and we're wearing face masks so much and so often, I can see why they would want to bring it back now, and I think it would almost make sense. It would be a pretty good selling point to bring it back at this point, just because there's going to be more viruses and sicknesses in the future. There's going to be more people wearing face masks. The downside to having both is price. It would probably cost more. It would definitely cost more for Apple, so the iPhones themselves might cost more overall, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to increase the prices. It just means that they may have to cut corners somewhere else, whether it means cutting prices on fast charging, on fast wireless charging, or cutting somewhere on the cameras. But yeah, there's not really, if there's a cost-effective way to do it, there's really not much of a downside to having both. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. But as iPhones run out of things to add, which I think they're already getting to that point in the next few years, yeah, sure. I don't have any problem with them adding Touch ID back. The reason I'm hesitant to believe any report or any claim that Touch ID is coming back to the iPhone is that we heard that was happening 3 years ago. In 2017, before the iPhone 10 came out, there were leaks and patents suggesting Touch ID will be under the display. They'll have Touch ID in the display. It's happening. And then it didn't. And then in 2018, it's happening this year. 2019, it's happening this year. 2020, it's happening this year. And it still hasn't happened. So I'm extremely doubtful to believe any leaker report that claims it's happening, just because it's kind of the boy who cried wolf situation. But someday, maybe 2021. I don't know if that's too soon or something, because the truth is, yes, companies have been doing fingerprint readers underneath the display for a long time now. My OnePlus does it. It's not new tech. However, Apple is a much bigger ship to steer because they order way more iPhones and they order way more phones in general than everybody else. So adding a fingerprint reader under the display for Samsung or OnePlus is a much smaller task than adding it to the iPhone, because the iPhone has to be produced at such extreme scale that maybe next year is too soon. But if they're thinking of things to add in 2021, I think that Touch ID would probably be a good idea. As there's going to be some people like me that continue to wear masks even after the pandemic. I just feel cleaner and safer anyway. I'm just going to keep wearing it in public. I kind of like the way it looks. I don't mind wearing a mask, so I'm just going to keep wearing one. Yeah, that could be the big selling point of the iPhone 12s. You have 120 hertz and you have Touch ID. There's no port, but yeah, that's hopefully a smaller notch. But we've been asking for a smaller notch for 3 years now. I think it's getting silly to keep asking for it. Maybe this year, maybe this year they'll do it. They still don't. I don't know. Let's see. I talked about this in the Discord, but I still think about this. Why do companies that use the Snapdragon 765G chip not use another chip like the Snapdragon 845? I know it's 2 years old, but CPU-wise is pretty much the same, and GPU-wise, 845 is still ahead. It would also make the phone cheaper because you're not forced to include the 5G technology. 5G isn't ready. Yeah, I think the problem is they want 5G. They don't want to release a phone. There's so many other flagships and so many other phones saying they have 5G now. They want to be able to brag that their phone also has 5G. I agree, it's stupid. I think more phones, like the Pixel 4a, thank you, Google, should be more comfortable with making phones that don't have 5G, because 5G is stupid and unnecessary. You know what? Every time I get an Android phone, I realize this. They don't ask you if you want to allow notifications for things. Is that just me? Is that like a Google settings preference? Because every time I get a new Android phone, it automatically assumes I want to get notifications for Discord and Twitter and email and YouTube. I don't. On iOS, they ask you when you install an app and open it, like, do you want Discord to allow notifications? And I just say no. Do you want Twitter to allow notifications? I know, I've had to disable them all. I'm just saying, like, why doesn't it ask me when I install the app? I don't get it. 5G is even more stupid during the pandemic when everyone's at home anyway. Oh, Qualcomm isn't allowing people to buy older CPUs. That sounds a lot more believable. They don't even have the choice to use the 845. I think the reason Apple isn't doing 120 hertz this year is because they want LTPO, but I think Samsung is making it exclusive. They did that last year with the hole punch. It sounds believable to me. I brought that up in the video. I love how there's still so many people convinced that it's happening because they saw some random Twitter account that is 2 weeks old say that it's happening. You know, usually, guys, like, I'll be honest with you here. I've been following the iPhone leaks for a few years. Usually, if we're split on something, if there's a doubt of a product having something or not, it usually ends up not having it. That's how this normally goes. If we're split on something and, like, some people are saying, yes, it will have this feature, and some people are saying, no, it won't have this feature, typically that's when it doesn't happen. The only stuff that does happen is stuff that we all unanimously kind of agree on, like the screen sizes. Like they're all OLED, 2 cameras on the cheap phones, 3 cameras on the large phones, LiDAR, those kind of things that everybody can confirm with. That's most likely going to happen. Wow, Glassfire73, thank you for the tier 1 sub for 13 months. Appreciate it. 5G will not be that important in the future once it's actually it really won't. I'm telling you now. iPhone 10 rumored Touch ID split and it didn't happen. iPhone 10 USB-C split and it didn't happen. iPhone SE2 with bezel-less screen split and it didn't happen. Apple Pencil on iPhone XS split and it didn't happen. Yeah, again, if people are split on it, majority of the time it's because it's not happening. So given we're very, very split on 120 hertz, it means that it's probably not going to happen. If it does happen, I'll be very pleasantly surprised. But it sounds like where I stand right now, I'm like 90% convinced it's not happening. And there's a small chance that it is. But if 120 hertz is happening, then it's going to be off by default. And you're going to have to turn it on through settings because the hardware going into the iPhone 12 can't support variable refresh rate. So in the settings, maybe you'll be able to switch it on and it'll kill your battery because it's going to have to stay locked at 120 hertz, and it won't be able to change dynamically. In my opinion, that doesn't sound like Apple. It doesn't sound like something they would do, put something in settings that you can turn on and kill your battery if you want to. What sounds more like Apple is them deciding, okay, we don't have LTPO, so we're going to skip 120 hertz this year, and once we can get LTPO next year, then we'll get 120 hertz. And that'll be like the flagship feature of the 12S. That sounds more believable because Apple wants to have something major for next year. Sounds more believable to me. You guys remember when everything Apple Pro was saying that 120 hertz was confirmed? Because I did a video saying the 12 Pro needs 120 hertz or it'll flop. I did that video, and everyone's like, but Drew, everything Apple Pro confirmed it. It's happening. And then I make this video, and people are like, yeah, Drew, we already knew it wouldn't have it. Everything Apple Pro told us. It's like, he just said it was for sure happening like 2 months ago. I feel like Apple could have given the SE a more current design. It's not really the point of the SE, though. If they gave it a more current design, it probably wouldn't be $400. Oh, yeah. I also remember that leak. Ben Geskin tweeted that picture. iPhone 12 prototype has no notch. Oh, those were the days. We went from, there's no notch on the iPhone 12 to, okay, it's a smaller notch to, okay, it's slightly smaller to, okay, it's the exact same size. Oh, how times have changed. Everyone was confident in 120 hertz in January. I think the truth is, earlier in the year, the iPhone seemed so far away. They're like, oh, yeah, Apple's got 9-10 months to figure all this out. Yeah, they can shrink the notch. They can do 120 hertz. No problem. It won't be that hard. But then as we get closer and closer, it's like, oh, shoot, they got to figure this out in the next 2 weeks. No, they probably can't do it. That sounds more believable to me. He said it was in the top bezel. Yeah, because there's no notch. He tweeted a picture of a iPhone with a thin bezel all the way around and said that they would just squeeze the Face ID sensors into a bezel this thin. I remember because I did like a 30-second video that day just saying, no, that's not it. That video aged like wine. That wasn't some chunky lemon milk Talos of Tech content. Why does everything Apple Pro recently advertised and reviewed Samsung phones with some bold claims? I suppose it's because of Samsung's policy of sponsoring YouTubers? That's not that new. He's kind of been like, I haven't watched him recently, but I remember watching him 3-4 years ago, and he would pick up an Android or Samsung and say, wow, this is so much better, this is so much cooler, Apple needs to catch up. He's kind of like me in that way of like, seeing Android do well is good because we want them to push Apple to be better. That's why my kind of hope was seeing 120 hertz on all these Androids this year would hopefully push Apple to release 120 hertz. And it didn't work, so that's why I'm disappointed. The 12 and 12 Pro have the same size notch as the 11. We don't know exactly, but it sounds like that's probably the case at this point. It's not confirmed, but most likely, yeah. I think phones are at the point where there's nothing special now compared to, 10 years ago? Yeah, I understand that. It's slowly getting less and less interesting. That's why I've moved into more EV subjects, because I find that when it comes to amount of content and amount of things to talk about, tech went 2008, 2009, 2010, and then the last few years it's been really, really fun to talk about phones. And now it's kind of plateauing. After 2017, it was getting less and less interesting, less and less reason to upgrade. Whereas EVs is kind of right here. It's starting to pick up. It's starting to pick up and get a lot of traction. And I think over the next 10 years, it's going to climb and peak and get really, really big deal. The lack of 120 hertz on the Pros is going to impact sales, which Apple will interpret means refunded interest in the Pro models, meaning they will get less attention and it will become a cycle. I know it's a death spiral. That's my lack of interest, is that Apple's going to see the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max is not doing that well, so we're not going to prioritize them. Would you ever make a Twitch page for the EV channel? How do you know I haven't already? Yeah, I just don't have the time to do regular EV streams right now, so if I had more time in the day, I probably would do a dedicated EV stream, but I just don't right now. I've done one EV stream on the channel. It went okay. What I noticed real quickly was that everybody tuning into the Talos of EV stream was not a viewer of the channel because they were all asking questions I had already answered in videos. So I don't know. EV community, I'm not saying they're worse. I'm just saying they're a little different from the tech community, as in iPhones and iPads and that kind of thing. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're older or just less connected, less informed. Something like that. I don't know. It's just different. It's a different vibe. You keep your Apple Watch in silent mode. I used to, but then this year I started doing something different. I realized that you can change the sound that the Apple Watch makes, because what I don't like, I like, getting notifications on my watch, but I used to always keep it on silent because I hated the noise it makes when I get a text. I hated the bing. It gets really, really loud and obnoxious, and there's some people I hang out with that leave it off, and they just let the Apple Watch chime at full volume, and it's really kind of piercing to the ear. But I realized I can lower the volume, so I've set it now to like barely audible. You can like barely hear the text, but you can still kind of hear it, which is what I prefer. I feel like more notifications should be like that. It's like when you hear it, you know it, but if anyone else is in the room, they would barely detect it, which is what I really, really like about lowering the volume. So I don't know what the percentage is, but the sound of my Apple Watch notification is like probably 5%. So it's really, really quiet. So when I get a text, it's just this little, and I can hear it, and no one else in the room can hear it. And I like that. Are you tired of people's hypocrisy and ignorance about Apple and tech? No, because sometimes I'm ignorant, and sometimes I'm hypocritical, so that just comes with the field. Let's see. What did you do with the overheating air power? It's still on my desk. I use it as a coaster. I keep my Apple bottle on air power. It's right there. So yeah, that's my dedicated drink holder. Let's see. They won't interpret the low pro sales as people not wanting it. They won't? Why not? Provide reason. I need reason. Now that Android users are going to make fun of Apple for having the same notch for 4 years in a row and talk about how Samsung can make a small hole punch in their displays, why don't people get that the iPhone notch is like 40 sensors and the S20 just has a camera? Yeah, that's probably what I'm least excited for, is knowing that there's going to be the same Apple complaints for a whole nother year. That always gets annoying, but they would complain either way. What I don't like is when people complain about a tech spec feature like that, which obviously caters more to the tech community, but then say that since Apple doesn't have 120 hertz on the 12 Pro, why doesn't Apple innovate anymore? It's like, okay, first of all, even if they shrunk the notch, even if they adopted USB-C, even if they had 120 hertz, none of that is innovative. That's all just updates, changing standards for the sake of moving with the industry. I don't know why people look at that. There's like, Samsung has 120 hertz, Apple doesn't, so they're not innovating anymore. It's like, that's not innovation. That's not. You have a better argument with foldables. We can argue whether or not that's good innovation, but I will admit at least it is somewhat innovative. But 120 hertz is not an innovation. That's just an improvement in what we already have. What if we just ask politely for 120 hertz? Thank you, Flatbread. Flatbread's dropping the real facts here. Clear toasters are real innovation. It's different than what people are saying they want. People love 120 hertz on the iPad, and Apple knows that. They're probably already certain on making it come to iPhone. Yeah, it's just confusing that they're waiting this long. I don't know why they couldn't figure it out after 3 years of having it on the iPad. It's just kind of annoying, but yeah. What kind of masks are you wearing outside? I remember you wearing an N95 in the Model Y video. Yeah, I don't think we're wearing an N95 now because lately they've just been saying a mask in general helps. And I'm not really wearing the mask to prevent the virus getting in me. It's more so to contain the virus on my end, which is what most people are doing these days, just wearing masks for the sake of spreading. So I'm wearing a mask. In my Discord profile picture, you can see it. It's pretty much just a cloth basic mask, but it gets the job done. It's comfortable. I can breathe okay with it, but it doesn't let particles come out, so it works. The notch thing is so annoying because the average consumer doesn't care. Both my sister and my parents all have notched iPhones, and when I've brought the notch up, I've had to explain it to them because they don't know what it is. Apple doesn't need to do anything with the notch. It would be nice if they did. I'll admit that, but yeah, I agree. It's very much an overrated subject of the iPhone that people think is a bigger deal than it really is. But 120 hertz I find much more noticeable than the notch camera hole debate. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate all of the amazing milestones with Twitch Prime and the Twitch subscriptions today. Thank you guys for the support. And hope you all stay safe out there, stay clean, and stay tuned for more videos in the works. Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye-bye.